for thought. This is a lesson to think about, nothing to sing about. Those who do without day by day, there's hungry kids dying, sad moms crying, working hard trying to feed the mouth of a young one while some living it up. She's wondering how come. No need for asking, the food be lasting. Praying for the things we throw in the trash bin. Wishing every day God bless their fate with fish on the dish or steak on the plate. They have no food, no job, no clothes. Education, respect to them's a no-no. The EFA collects food for the stray. Not only on occasion, hunger's every day. You wanna lend a hand? Yo, lend it in. Foods you can't use, go ahead, send it in. Donate your excess foods in the garden. Going to waste while a young one's starving. Think about it, when the food you got is all wasted to rot. Food for thought. This is MC Rampage and the Minute Class Posse for the Emergency Food Network, boy. Peace.
In the casino, the cardinal rule is to keep them playing and keep them coming back. The longer they play, the more they lose.
Games begin, this shit ain't Hasbro. Coins on slot, you pull the handle. You can jackpot or blow your bankroll. You can get rich or you can go broke. You can play cool or you can go woke. You hit blackjack, what a rush. Stack your chips, chump go bust. Break the dealer, that's what's up. Sometimes insurance is a must. On a roll, then double up. Raise the stakes, call it bluff. All or nothing, enough's enough. Casino Royale, don't press your luck. Don't press your luck. Martini ice cold, let the dice roll. 7-Eleven, aw shucks. Come here slow, blowing this for luck. Baby need new shoes, no snake eye twos, no crap, fuck that shit you can't lose. Perhaps if you stroke the crucifix, you can avoid that double sick. Let's roulette and the wheel spins. Number, color, your deal wins. Only one tip will work with that. Big chips always bet on black. On a roll, then double up. Raise the stakes, call it bluff. All or nothing, enough's enough. Casino Royale, don't press your luck. Don't press your luck. Texas Hold'em, poker faces, watch for tells, body language never fails. Strong means weak and weak means strong. How they place bets, sing the song, call and check, see who folds next, feeling risky, raise the bets. He sees you and ups you more. He seems cocky, she seems sure. Time to call, watch them blush. They full of shit, you got roll flush. On a roll, then double up. Raise the stakes, call they bluff. All or nothing, enough's enough. Casino Royale, don't press your luck. Don't press your luck. Don't press your luck. Don't press your luck. Casino Royale, don't press your luck.
Attention.
Honey, let me tell you something. Honey, let me tell you something.
3, 2, 1, kabam, Armageddon sweeps the land. Signs to find the end of a lifespan. Warnings left to the dumb, deaf, and blind. Ignorance, the killer of mankind. Change moves at a slow rate. In a world of hate and no fate. Children kidnapped, locked in a basement. Mutilated, found dead on the pavement. Some talk that Lovecraft action, while a newborn get tossed in the trash can. No chance of survival, you better try, cause if you don't, you're taking on a level of genocide. A plan of pure hate, formed in each state to eliminate. You best change your ways, your heart, your mind, 3 till Armageddon, and it's about time.
There are those who need to find a way out.
Cause it's about time.
There are those who need to find a way out.
Time passed, survive the next week. As I speak, a mother still weeps. Cause her daughter some pimp thought was cute transformed to a K-Street prostitute. Cops, paid to protect. One for your gun or the nightstick quick. You fear the darkest fear of the black race. Self-disgrace and hate for a black face. Rampage, worldwide worth hate. Another brother outlining white tape. The earthquakes, some say so what? World so messed up, blow it up, 6 minds, the cause and effect. Rapture up next, so check your Rolex. Open your eyes and realize the signs. 2 till Armageddon, and it's about time.
There are those who need hope.
Cause it's about time.
There are those who need hope.
Draws near to Armageddon, so be warned. The wrath of God strikes marks of the beast and birth of the Antichrist. Wars in the Middle East, damn. Country ran by so-called madman. 1 till Armageddon, beware the signs you find behind your mind. Cause it's about time.
There are those who need to find a way out.
Cause it's about time.
Those who need to find a way out.
No one has concluded that this decision means that a war is being regarded as inevitable.
MC Rampage on another Shaggy C card. Stepping to you with a serious message to strive for peace, love, and blessing.
Hey yo, we out of here.
Peace to the generations, sin to all the nations, with the almighty vision. H in your hand and you ain't taking no slack. You don't kill off at a fool, you're killing off full of black. Just a life to waste, you don't even feel the strength. Up and off and terrorizing the place in your own way. Selling the bait, you go around and you find a green piece of paper with the president on it. The one half the reason this word needs to be heard is how black versus black. The graph is absurd. How rolling for the goal and find ladies if I'm one. Even if you need a few off your skin, you ain't nothing but yeah, you care that your race is disgraced, or are you even aware that you share the jealous skin is complex and what they do? Now, oh, what a coincidence. So, do you red or blue? Is that all life is worth? People can go to a jam without a jet to get hurt, but you're below the dope. Just look at this racket, and now you can get shot for the color of a jacket. It was better than before with the killing. Dang, that was neat. Everybody was level up with the game, so they complain. Talk the language, and stop backing up. You see, doing everything they see for some Sean Penn movie. Smoking your brother like you would a grandma butts. It's when to God make colors to go to blood. This is a war, all the reds against all the blues. But no matter who wins, the black race will still be colorblind. In South Africa, a giant torch in your face like you're wasting how we call this. It makes the society look down on this internal in those. Look at the color of your skin, not the color of your clothes. This gang won't turn you nowhere in life. Except a bullet to get hit in your back, maybe a knife. Shot at a house without nothing to kill. A crying grandmother or a dead relative. By all means necessary, monsters and sons. With all self-destruction, there must be in a line. Just to Michael Jackson. Word to the one, look at the man in the mirror. Maybe then you see his colors. You ain't nothing but colorblind.
Seeing you from afar, nearly drove myself crazy finding out who you are. Looking sweeter than a Tootsie Roll, leaving a whole bowl. A sugar couldn't match the sweetness you console. Every time you pass me by, I try to pick up a clue to find the keys to your heart. And when I do, ooh, there'll be a moment in time that I'll never forget. I'd be in the Romeo, you be my Juliet. See, sweet thing, what I say is true, and every word in my heart is screaming, I love you, 'cause you're the girl I love. And we share private moments just between me and you. You're an angel from heaven, but instead of a halo hanging over your head, it's a mistletoe. Couldn't live my life without you, so I won't doubt you when you say the same, because I always think about you. Gaze at the moon, your face is in every star. If you be my Hershey kiss, I'll be your Mr. Goodbye. 'Cause I still stand alone, hoping that you would rescue me. Loneliness, my sickness, but your love could be my remedy. In the meantime, I guess I'll stay with my sores and long for the day when you consider me yours. You're the girl I love. And on every station, they criticize my judgment for being so patient. I think sometimes if your love really worth it, then I think the thought over, shut it out and curse it. My heart is the same no matter what people say. Without you in my life, it's not even a day. I want your arms to hold me, let me go never, cause I love you so much, and I think it'll last forever. Never been this fun before, never tasted tongue before. What I do, girl, I wanna taste it some more. Can't take it, gotta have the love you've been sealing. You're like a Toyota, girl, oh what a feeling. Don't mean this to play, just wanna show the way I feel. So till then, what more can I say? But P.S. a important thought to remember. No touch your body good, but I can do your body better.
To my homeboy Mr. and Mrs. Caviezel on his wedding night. Big gang. Yo. My whole life I've waited for this moment in time that I find the perfect match to forever be mine. I've been to many places, smiled in many faces, felt the empty spaces, false heart embraces. Has time been wasted on these love chases, or did it bring me back to the basics? We're all past relations and preparations for revelations I'm facing. Yeah, I need more than refills or one night cheap thrills. Pipe dreams on Strawberry Hills is a weak deal, and so to be real, I've learned my lessons, and now it's time I pop the question. Will you marry me? Will you be my wife? Will you be the one to share my life? Will you be there through the rough years together and face fear? Wherever I'm at, please be there. Yeah, for rich or for poor, through peace and through war. I pop the question cause I'm sure in life we have ups and downs, but I need to know you'll still be around. I need to know you'll have my back when the demons attack. You'll be there to keep me on track. Woman, I love you. I want you to be my wife, my partner, life building, mother of my children, empty heart filling, one in a million, beautiful lifeline, chance of a lifetime. Sweet love, be mine and I'll be yours. Let the trust in us endure forevermore. Naked, sacred, blessed and secure, holy matrimony, sincere and so pure. Please marry me. Will you be my wife? Will you be the one to share my life? Will you be there through the rough years together and face fear? Wherever I'm at, please be there. Yeah, for rich or for poor, through peace and through war. I pop the question cause I'm sure my life is complete when our hearts beats, two lovers together forever. It couldn't get any better. Treasure the pleasure, the day that I met you. A blessed bond nobody can sever. Remember, this day our souls became one. The problems in life, we faced the same once. I'm your support that holds down the fort. Your land by the stream and man of your dreams. It's just us against the world. Whatever we face it, this love will be our foundation. With this ring I pledge from the start, you'll be my heart till death do us part. Please marry me. Will you be my wife? Will you be the one to share my life? Will you be there through the rough years together and face fears? Wherever I'm at, please be there. Yeah, for rich or for poor, through peace and through war. I pop the question cause I'm sure. Be my wife.
Thanks so much, everyone. My name is John Falsco. I'm happy that you chose to come out and support live music in our community. This is a concert really organized by a chamber group, Brass Unlimited, which are members Keith Gorsuch, Eric Stevens, David Mulkins, and Carl Ronick, 2 trumpets, 2 trombones. And a couple times a year they invite some friends to join them on stage, and we give these more large brass ensemble concerts. So this is our Pops concert, so I think you'll find that the selections tonight might be familiar. I think they're wonderful pieces. First up was John Williams, the famous film composer, Jaws, E.T., Close Encounters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Harry Potter, basically every soundtrack that's ever won an Oscar. John Williams, great composer. We're happy to share that midway march. Next up, we have more film music. It's a medley from the Magnificent Seven, which is, from my understanding, the original movie was actually a Japanese movie, and it was about samurai warriors. And that I want to say it was a silent film, but I think it had sound. But then it was completely redone as a Western, and famously featured Yul Brynner, and has a really memorable soundtrack by Elmer Bernstein. So we're going to play this medley for you from the Magnificent Seven.
Soul food for thought. This is a lesson to think about, nothing to sing about. Those who did without, live life hand to mouth. Savor flavors of slave labor, courtesy of damn South caterers. Finer than Mel's Diner in South Carolina. Louisiana gumbo mix so good you'll kiss my grits. Scraps they gave to kill us, we spiced with salt to fill us in the kitchen. Fixing chitlins and fried chicken, collard green mixed in ham hocks, fat backs, lamb chops, battered fried or smothered. They hit the damn spot. Family of blessed home, oxtail and neck bone, catfish, hoghead, cheese, pasta, black-eyed peas. Pretty please, no mystery to the history, bloodshed, rape, murder, and misery. About twice in my life they had my soul on ice. If you leave it to Beaver, we all Eldridge Cleaver. Lost old soul to the cheetahs that called us savage, yet they had jungle fever. As I check your temperature, you neglect to mention the fact of the black impact history signature. Pharaohs to enslaved zeros, invisible weirdos to civil rights heroes. They say the cabbage is for cash, black-eyed peas for luck, cornbread for brighter days. You tell me what's up. They used to toss us pig guts in slave quarters, lights out. Today soul food's being served in the White House. Soul food for thought. Yo, Theory, hit me with a bunch of them leftovers. Yeah. Funky. Yo. Won't you have a bowl of that soul in the hole? Get your grub on before we get cold. The type of grub prepared with love. What can be better than keeping the black fam together? Sound and stable, round the table. Deep discussion sometimes lead to fighting and fussing. Mama break it up with spoon slapping, hushing. Passing the smothered biscuits fresh out the oven. The kind of soul you feel buzzing. That soul for real cousin. A soul train that runs on pure loving. For those who sold out, you need a soul search the whole earth. Don't make me go to telling and slap you with a melon. Get out or get the hell in. I'm calling you all in. No matter your district, we all kin. No matter your place or your race. Scrape the hate off your plate and give a hearty soul meal a taste. Take some black-eyed peas mixed with white grits, yellow cornbread, mix in some brown fried chicken, red velvet cake. That's tasty, y'all right. The human fam, now what that soul food like? Yeah. We're gonna have to stop that. Yo. That was cool. The baker's cool, but the oven's not hot enough, Doc. We need to get funky. Some down south funk for they tale. Give me some of that southern kitchen funk. Come on, hit me. Yeah. Funky. My folks down south know what I'm talking about. You know soul and love melt in your mouth. The writtens I'm spitting, getting funky as chitlins. No Tabasco, knock off Louisiana hot sauce music theory. Pop off them homegrown, down home neck bone. Macaroni cheese, I pop my collard greens. Hard as the lard that your mama used. Serve notice and music theory on the 1 and 2s. From the descendants of slavery come dishes so tasty, delicious and juicy and savory. Oh yeah, it makes me wanna holler. That down south funk ain't no damn punk. Don't make me get hyphy and mix it with crunk. Break off a chunk, make southern kitchen thump. Inspecting, injecting, expressions a lesson. Medicines ingesting, etc. Robitussin. Ain't no question, soul food cures the best. My man Doc Fosco, you can kiss the chef. And that's what's left.
One, two. Serve notice in the house for the year 2008. The theory. My man Doc Fosco, music theory in the building. We here chilling like Jones to the other couple of chilling for real thing, you know. Call outside the lines, keep going. Yo, I call it outside the line, fade a portrait of humanity, try to make sense of insanity. Canopy exasperated hatred amongst the races leads to construction or self-destruction. Picture old scriptures, blind as swastikas. God gave religion, man-made divisions. Stereotype superstition, selfish ambition to those who pose Christian. Isn't it sad for those who didn't have the melanin I'm dwelling in? Color me bad. Them boys in blue, yeah, that poison crew say I'm barred from whites, wearing stars and stripes. Freedom of speech, yeah, right. Don't believe the hype. Don't say what they like, you might lose your life. Taken from Doc King, he stood for peace. Stood for justice, now lies deceased. Concrete streets, color blood of the Indian nation. Extermination on reservations. The pilgrims said, damn, we want this bread, man. Greedy tree, the red man's a dead man. Every other block, there's a little gunshot. The liquor stores here, just chemical warfare. They gotta celebrate Thanksgiving banquets. The same shit thanks with smallpox and blankets. Apartheid's done in South Africa, I see. Replaced by the Jermaine John B. 136 million men, women, and children, unmarked graves. What's the life of a slave? Because of the color of skin, we kill again. Ain't no excuses for hatred and nuisance. Beating this demon is useless. Color outside the lines, you may find in time. From the black and the white, yellow and brown with red down, destinies intertwined, that's bottom line. Think and free your mind, erase hate, color outside the line till your inner eyes colorblind. Erase hate color outside the lines. Yo, theory, script. Yo. Face it, being racist is tasteless for all those who hate this. Break it down to basic. Listen very clearly though. Check out the scenario as I push a stereo. Holla if you hear me though. Stereotypes, false hype, what we don't like. So please listen and you fit the description. Not every black man's another Scottie Pippen. Or wants to gangbang, deal or pimp women. Not all whites is filthy rich and prejudiced. No matter what they say, all whites say triple K. Some whites fought day and night for the civil rights plight. Some see men as equal, some blacks exploit people. Not every Jewish fanboy cash, and not every Arab's packing bombs in book bags. Every Latino ain't illegal, so stop it. Not every Aborigine is an alcoholic. Blast your stereotype. It's a spiritual fight. Deliverance from centuries of ignorance. Time to quit walking through life with focus blurred. Welcome to reality, partner. Notice serves. Thank you, baby. Hey, support the downtown barbershop.
I'm gonna kill it. House Bill 1126, getting sick of these racist lawmakers' dirty tricks. Yes, I'm against crime, but I ain't blind to this fact. This act profiles blacks, push back people of color. My Latino brothers read my essay to my folks in my essays. It gets messy all through the nation. Association, incarceration, as if harsh prosecution is the solution to poverty, racist institutions. Were you fooling when you jump to this conclusion? You known for using the law for law abusing. In fact, to young blacks, 5-0's been known to brutalize, criminalize, otherwise terrorize. I don't roll with slave patrol, nor do I support ambitions of lying politicians. Claim you tough on crime, that a fact. Why don't you lock up Wall Street and Goldman Sachs? Whoever wrote this bill ain't holding out. If they sold us out, go ahead and vote them out. Kill this bill.
Politicians into hip-hop now. Their latest hit, a Slave Code remix, Kill Bill 1126. Now I'll take the liberty to change the words from slaves to gangs in order to uncover this diabolical plan. In U.S. history, laws governing the status of gangs were enacted by states that permitted conditions that created them. If law enforcement labeled you a gang member, you were considered a criminal rather than a citizen with only felonious rights.
Don't get it twisted, me and mine don't throw up gang signs. Black is black, red and blue is colorblind. Now that we put it into petty confusion, the gangbanging issue, what's the solution? Back in the days, the fighting Irish was gang, and they were beasts, bumping up police, dead rabbits, damn nabbit. But you gave programs, save them from vultures of criminal culture. Question, why when it comes to the colored, our programs fail, except your U.S. jail cell. The U.S. prisons become big business, claim you're saving me with legal slavery. Here's the facts, you never freed the blacks. That's why lies tie inside your almanac. Created the problem and claimed to solve them. A criminal judging a criminal ain't that simple. You see through bottled water, answer to the nation you slaughtered. Black, brown, red, and yellow, knee deep to the elbows. Past 1126, hell no, kill this bill.
In this era of privately owned prisons, your incarceration have become the latest family business, where the daughter's the stenographer, the uncle's the judge, the nephew's the prosecutor, the cousin's the defense attorney, the brother's the corrections officer, and the grandfather, well, he's the warden. When free enterprise intersects with a captive market, abuses are bound to happen. Welcome to the Prison Industrial Complex, also known as PIC, a multi-million-dollar industry with its own trade shows and conventions, its own websites, mail order catalogs, and direct marketing campaigns. It includes some of the nation's largest architect and construction firms. No longer a surprise, the plan for our demise have been openly constitutionalized. Kill this bill. Kill this bill. Good afternoon, my name is Antonio Edwards. I'm a 2004 alumni graduate of this campus, and welcome to We the Students Television.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds, try and keep your head up to the sky. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day.
Evolution, an unfolding process of development, a foundation of growth. Evergreen Tacoma. Evolutionist, one who believes in the theory of evolution. We, the liberal artists of Evergreen Tacoma, salute you, exalt you, lift you up, fill you with joy, pride, fervor, intensive feeling, and expression, for you have embarked on a lifelong lesson. You see, I love this pedagogy, so do many it has touched, lighting the fires of their torches, sending them forth to burn their own trails, encouraging success when all we knew was how to fail, achieving ideas under adverse conditions, dreams never in remission. We have brought them forth into fruition.
What's up? This is Dominic Hoyt for We the Students Television. I'm here with one of Evergreen Tacoma, Evergreen State's College most brilliant talents and students, Carl Wilson, and you're also part of the board, I believe, right?
Yes, the SNA board. I'm a junior here at Evergreen, and I'm here on We the Students Television.
That's what's up. Also known as YG Preach.
Yeah, you can say that too.
Okay. No, why Evergreen? What do you like about Evergreen Tacoma State Campus that made you decide to come here to continue your education?
Well, I really like that it's a liberal arts school, but for me, it was good for me because their flexibility with their transfer degree programs. I was able to transfer in with 90 credits with my particular degree, and that's one of the main reasons why I came here. But I used to go to TCC, and I always heard about Evergreen. Everybody used to tell me about Evergreen. So I did a little research. I went online, found out what their school was about. Then I applied. I was eager to get into school, so I'm just happy to be here.
Okay. Before I came here, I was at Pierce College, and I received an associate's degree in business and also a certificate in marketing. And before that, I was a high school dropout and basically moving back and forth from here to Florida to Georgia to all kinds of places. So wasn't very stable whatsoever, and just kind of got to the point in my life where I was kind of just sick and tired of certain things, and decided that I needed something that I had been craving for since I dropped out of high school, and that was to be in a college setting and to be in a higher, education environment. So, I went and got my associate's degree, and a professor at Pierce College by the name of Dr. Paul Gerhardt, he basically convinced me to come here to Evergreen. He told me this would be a perfect setting for me, and I would really enjoy this place. And I really was not familiar with Evergreen, Tacoma, or Olympia whatsoever, and so I just decided to go for it.
My duties essentially revolve around facilitating the board meetings and running the office, answering questions, basically helping guide people towards how they can access the funding that we have available here on campus for student activities, clubs, and things of that nature.
My experience here coming to Evergreen has been an amazing journey. I am 3 weeks away from completing my BA. My BA will be within the liberal arts. I am applying for grad school right now, and my journey here has been amazing.
And after coming here, one thing I appreciate though is the faculty and the staff. They got great teachers here. Dr. Bacho, Dr. Anderson, Dr. McQuarrie, Dr. Lee, Dr. Smith, Dr. Solomon. They're all great teachers, and I appreciate that it's a small campus, number one, and then the small classrooms too. It enhances my engagement.
So in your experiences, what is Evergreen about?
It's like, what is Evergreen not about? Is probably the best question to ask. Evergreen is about everything. It's like they say, whatever you put into it is what you get out of it. And so for me, Evergreen has been everything that I've wanted to be and then some. It's not just about what Evergreen has done for me, but it's about what I've done for Evergreen as well. It's a relationship, it's a partnership, and that's what I feel this has been for me. I've been able to take it to a whole nother level, high expectations, from the teachers to the students, and so that's what I needed. I needed that. But I also needed the opportunity to be myself and to be able to branch out in what area I really wanted to, and that's the thing about Evergreen. You can have, so many different things in one classroom setting, in one environment, and you can just explore, and you can go as far as you want to go because that's how the teachers let you be here. So that's why I appreciate Evergreen.
So what are some examples of student activities or clubs or things that you work with here in this office?
Well, what the board has is a certain allocation of funds that's available to students for various education-related activities over and above what we already have planned here on campus. Now, that's one of our main responsibilities is the allocation of these funds. And so, for example, if a student has an idea of a workshop they'd like to host or an event promoting a certain agenda here on campus, they can approach the board with a proposal and request funding from the board. And if the board thinks it's appropriate to fund whatever the student would like to host, we'll allocate those funds for that event. Yeah.
So did a lot of hills to climb to get here?
Well, it did. Actually, what inspired me to come to Evergreen was I attended another institution, educational institution, and I didn't feel like there was enough diversity for me there, and so I wanted to be submerged into various cultures, different age ranges, and I got exactly what I was looking for here at Evergreen because everyone here has an amazing story and a journey on how they got here too.
Yeah.
It was an amazing academy. It pulled things out of me I didn't even know I possessed. So behold, as the evolution unfolds, back on 12th and K, now Martin Luther King the dream, ironically as it may seem, is the work of the big hand. Community concerns all around still, an open door policy for those of us who were in doubt. You see, those walls can talk. I can hear them from here, because in the Bridge program I learned to listen with more than just my ears.
Good
afternoon. This is Barb Valdez with We the Students Television. And this afternoon I'm with Dr. Gelta Shepard and Dr. Lee. How are you today?
Fine.
Good. I just want to ask you a couple questions about about campus life here at Evergreen State College in Tacoma. First, I want to ask you a little bit about your background, your educational background, your history, and what made you come to teach the Evergreen State College Tacoma campus?
Well, I'm the oldest, so I will go first. I've been teaching here for 10 years. My PhD is in sociology and cultural studies, and I'm also a filmmaker. What made me come here is I was teaching at Seattle Central Community College, and I taught in a coordinated studies program, which is an interdisciplinary program. Hence, a lot of different disciplines come together and they cross one another to pull out more learning from each discipline, so it becomes a larger piece of learning. And I was teaching a class called The Televised Mind, the Effect of Electronic Media on Your Values. And this was more than 10 years ago, because I've been teaching here for 10 years. At first, I did this class thinking, oh my goodness, I need to talk about Durkheim and Weber and Du Bois and so many other people. But then I realized that when I taught with a writing teacher, as well as a history teacher, that my knowledge in sociology expanded, and there was so much faculty kind of development, in a scholarly way, that it extended my area to becoming a filmmaker. And so it has enhanced me tremendously. And I've also seen, particularly, how I get even more learning from the students, because I'm able to tap into their passions or their interests, and if I don't, then we have another chance with another professor and another chance with another professor in the same classroom under the same thing, not to take away. And so I saw exponentially more learning from our students, and also more faculty development from me. So it's this interdisciplinary kind of way of teaching, and the kind of learning community that develops as a result of it. And people are really collaborative. I mean, they actually are. So, and when they're not, we're able to really reflect on that and put that in teaching and learning, not just as a personality. So,
I love it here. It's a very, very unique institution. You have adult learners. In many ways, these are people, many of the students are people trying to turn their lives around. Yes. And so to teach here is not to teach at a more conventional institution like the University of Washington or Seattle University or any of these places. Right. And we have, in the course of my being here, 5 years or so, we've had enormous success stories that I take great pride in saying that, I played a role in helping folks turn their lives around.
How do you feel about the structure here at Evergreen about having no grades?
I like it because I grew up in a traditional institution where you had grades. And basically, my basic education, although I succeeded at it, was memorizing and regurgitating. And I think what I've come away from with the educational philosophy here at Evergreen is that you need to be able to read, write, and think your way through this college, as opposed to just memorizing one theory about things and just regurgitating that on an exam that asks you specific questions. Unfortunately, I think that's traditional education is what we are still involved with, and a lot of students come with the inability to think about things beyond what do I need to memorize for the test. And when you do away with the test, to me, that forces students to think, evaluate, and do more research to come to conclusions about various questions.
More hands-on structure. How you combine what I accumulated over the years doing research, more advanced science with the basic teaching is a challenge for me. And also after I come to Tacoma Evergreen, I get exposed to a lot of other things beyond biomedical sciences, which has been my formal education. So I'm learning American history, sociology, as well as the constitutions and laws and ethics. All these things has been very fulfillment for me. Expansion on my understanding of American culture, as Dr. Shepard was saying, co-teaching as well as learning from students.
Has Evergreen always been that way? Did it start out that way?
Yes, I think that was its philosophy. Yeah, it started out, it was going to be different from traditional institutions in that it wouldn't emphasize grades. It emphasized learning communities where you have exchanges between students and faculty, and those exchanges would not be dependent on having the correct answer in order to get an A, B, C, or D.
And how do you think the structure differs from the main campus from here? Is it the same structure there as it is?
And somewhat it's the same. You know, it's the same philosophy, but because the main campus has more programs and more faculty, its focus is very varied depending on, you know, the area of interest. And because we are a program and not campus-wide, we focus on one theme for the year and various individual classes that feed into that theme.
On Afghanistan, it's very timely. One of the things I should mention, though, was this film was wrapped before President Obama's decision on the surge and before his decision to insert McChrystal as the commander-in-chief in Afghanistan. But Professor Lehner said we should start with this group here, so let's go ahead.
Okay. I think you're talking about what can be done, and we seem to agree that pulling out would probably be the best solution, or part of the solution. Another idea was to, in these refugee camps, put the schools there and feed the kids food at school and give them a little stipend to send home with their family if they go to school.
Okay.
That way they
Certainly the development money needs to be better coordinated, and it needs to basically reach the people on the ground. That's clearly something that's not happening.
And I think we think that if there wouldn't be any kind of punishment for these kids going to school, whether they're female or male, if they were bringing home bread.
Right.
Any other comments from this group? Warner, go ahead.
No, you know, we started out talking about the film, but then we later moved into a debate on motivation, or monetary motivation for, say, a conflict such as this, the Afghanistan and Iraq situation. And, you know, I'm of the opinion that war is serious, and obviously my colleagues, they don't agree with me. They think that certain entities feel that there's a corporate there's a corporate influence in these situations, and I disagree.
Well, they always said is that war is profitable to some people at the very top. It becomes a money-making venture. And he disagrees. He said he disagreed. He said, no, it's not. They're not doing it for money. Nobody would ever start a war just to make profit.
Maybe that's we can't agree, though. I mean, you know, whether you start war for profit or not, I mean, that's a little bit too big an issue to kind of wrap our arms around right now. But we can agree that when the U.S. is involved in the business of war, there are firms that benefit.
I agree with that.
When I listen real closely, I hear the voices of Maxine Mims or when Kim sings, the pouring of libations and lyceum and joy when the bell rings. I once read, in the province of the mind, what one believes to be true either is true or becomes true. So the evolution continues. Everyone here has walked into the evolution that has been created, where problems are minimized and solutions elevated. Seeing some things antiquated and anew, continuing the legacy of the Highlander school. With culture and spirit, can't you feel it? It's bouncing off the walls, the floors. Yes, your ears should be burning from this higher learning that surrounds you. So just take a look around you. The evolution, the people's contribution, accessible to all, this broad-based, world-centric, liberal arts educational shopping mall. So just check out the system. It's the embodiment of interdisciplinary studies and collaborative learning, combining theory and application to real-life situations, while infusing culturally diverse perspectives to meet our educational and career objectives.
Now, how can you teach bioethics without teaching history? It doesn't make sense. This campus has within its ambit outstanding possibilities. There was a woman who was publisher of a black newspaper here in Tacoma, Virginia Taylor. It was the Northwest Dispatch. Virginia's idea was that the Evergreen State College Tacoma campus would become the Columbia University of the Hilltop. What is occurring is that the Evergreen State College is the Harvard, the Columbia, the Morehouse, the Howard, the Fisk, the Hampton universities of the Hilltop. It's here. We are unique in our niche here in Tacoma. We provide an education for those students who wouldn't ordinarily think about continuing, many of whom had already given up, some of whom had almost given up, but others who said, I will not give up. And so we take you all. We start with where you are. If you're having problems with math or writing, we provide infrastructure support so that you can rise up to the level that we need. We cannot continue to throw away our citizens if they don't qualify for admission to one university or one college. We must open the doors to higher education if we, as a community, a city, a state, a nation, are to survive and thrive. The Evergreen State College, quite frankly, in my estimation, is the savior of the Pierce County greater community, because we're educating all our people who come to our doors.
So entra para aprender y departe para servicio. But as a graduate of Evergreen State College Tacoma campus, I now live my life sin compromiso.
Listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard. You gotta be tough. You gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. You gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day.
I love that, yes.
Well, I know you guys have to
Get right, let's go to class, so bye!
performer that's going to be coming up, and I love him to death. He's an amazing person. The next performer is a graduate, 2011. He's also a poet laureate. Please welcome George Hoyt of Surve, performing Pump Your Circumstance!
1, 2, 1, 2. What's up, Evergreen, Tacoma, 2011. You hear it? Yeah. Pump your circumstance. Through trials and tribulations, challenging situations, building a knowledge foundation. Textbooks break thick, thorough education, mental stimulation, mind elevation. Behold the future saviors of this nation. Your graduation, congratulations. You'll now be facing new opportunity, changing community, shine like diamond jewelry. It's been one long far pace, one long hard race. Now the world's yours like Scarface. No lowercase, it's all about your capital. Done with the test and beat, thank your owner's equity. Let me see you live it up, player like a baller. Love gentlemen dollars, rolling with the scholars. All seniors holler, juniors ask questions. Sophomore harden up, you started as a freshman. Studied every lesson, stressing through strife. Defining moment, plus the new life. Cap and gown, career bound with a sight. Tackles right to left, but some left to right, alright? Cause you made it, and now had your chance to advance. You let victory dance, put your circumstance. Red hand, low stuff, 0 below. You made it though, don't black glance, put your circumstance. Yo, pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, yo, theory. Do you remember starting school in September? Statistics class, you ain't think you passed, but you here at last. Valedictorian, in all of your glory, continual historian. This here moment to capture begins a new chapter. Road to riches from hereafter. Time to party up, celebrate with laughter. With all associates, bachelors and masters, doctors and deans on the team. Welcome to the team. You're walking the American dream. To reach this level ain't as easy as it seems. Sink or swim, rapid waters upstream. Though this moment be sacred, there's no way to make it. They thought school was something to play with. They straight sideways, you chose to stay with. Eye on the prize, only strong survive. And we just here, graduation, final destination. Victory, marching, revelation. Take that deep breath. Aroma of diplomas, it's been a time cracked the coronas. Because we made it, we now have a chance to advance. We let victory dance from your circumstance. Red hair, snuff, 0 below. You made it though, don't back glance from your circumstance. What? Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. Yo, theory!
up and cross the floor, flipping off with that soft stuff. They got the color of uncooked ham hot, fly flesh, fine wine fresh from the wine press. Yes, you guessed it, untamed breakfast. Check this, yo, I love breakfast at your solar plexus. Leave them haters straight to the race, bleeding like Darth Vader, even with shitty gators, big city players. For real, my nigga, killers all I spiller, 22 on the pillar, killer, killer, gorilla, cruise war on your villa, transforming like Willa. Yo, fuck Mike, snuff them bright lights, a Sprite night for right, hit mice twice, kill me 2 times, yo, give me 2 pounds, witness a true crime, hard knocks, diploma from the city of Tacoma, triple man, sick with it, glaucoma, catch it and use it door, take it how you wanna, relive this, breaking these wars with interest, physical fitness, letting off holocaust, no remorse, word is born, motherfuckers, you been warned.
Shit ain't switching smooth in these streets, boy. Not letting the heat, boy. AKA the beast, boy. You could lose your life any night of a week, boy. Play ask somebody, play ask somebody. 253.
Try to eat up on plates, you get burnt by the taste. If you ain't put your place, you get burnt before grace. From hilltop to Lakewood, our block to they hood. 2 by 3 cheese, we stay good. Haters wish they could. Spit like me, nothing like me. My crew check the schools like Nikes. Players in white tees, fingers that might squeeze. Triggers for white cheese. Triple B pipe dreams of ice cream. Sweetness and pricing. Swallow on the bottle and I challenge your style. This shit ain't Sleepy Hollow. We let you give you something. We should call the poison blue. We come with attitude, plus I must be posing to all I wanna do. Serious style, happy here. This is your quest. They gon' burn it, actually cracking here. Hustling, or jumping, believe into something. Just like Halloween, y'all call this big the great pumpkin. Money science, even with no money, this is something. Money funny, no advantage, go to thumping. Get the stepping, hey yo, we don't have to for nothing. Clear the block out, or else we will commence to dump it.
Shit ain't switching smooth in these streets, boy. Not letting the heat, boy. AKA the beast, boy. You could lose your life any night of a week, boy. Play ask somebody, play ask somebody. 253.
How you feel? She was wishing niggas back in the hood. Sick and checking the goods. Get the F out the hood. We pew to settle down. We're going to town. Price of living going up. Chance of living going down. But we're playing school in psychopathology. No text teacher econometry. Make no apologies. Sick with it probably. I'ma take the paper. Hater, no stopping me. Set a fucking shot on every block of monopoly. Make these bras with themselves screaming in pottery. Dressed to impress like I just hit the lottery. Why that is, kid? Just how it got to be. Too much sluts on my nuts, fuck it off of me. You in love with the drugs and it's costing me. Girl turn thief for the beast, one of these from the stat. Piece of that ass, I freaks for the cat. Released and I blast, my tongue is a lash. Nothing realer than a dealer and a skriller. Try to make a buck in the case, kill my dealers. How that 253 shit ain't swisher.
Shit ain't switching smooth in these streets, boy. Not letting the heat, boy. AKA the beast, boy. You could lose your life any night of a week, boy. Play ask somebody, play ask somebody. 253.
Food for thought. This is a lesson to think about, nothing to sing about. Those who do without day by day, there's hungry kids dying, sad moms crying, working hard trying to feed the mouth of a young one while some living it up. She's wondering how come. No need for asking, the food be lasting. Praying for the things we throw in the trash bin. Christian every day, God bless their faith with fish on the dish or steak on the plate. They have no food, no job, no clothes. Education, respect to them's a no-no. The EFN collects food for the stray. Not only on occasion, hunger's every day. You wanna lend a hand? Yo, lend it in. Food you can't use, go ahead, send it in. Donate your excess foods in the garden. Going to waste while a young one's starving. Think about it, when the food you got is all wasted to rot. Food for thought. This is MC Rampage and the Middle Class Posse for the Emergency Food Network, boy. Peace. the days, a brother named John Doe lounged with his man by the name of Slow Mo. Cool at the crib, they shot up some heroin, passed round the needle unaware, danger they were in. But they were friends, they'd always trade. But little did Doe know Slow had gotten A's and passed it to him. Slow Mo couldn't know anything was wrong. Now there goes John to his girl's house. Unarmed, no latex, him and his lady practice unsafe sex. Now the vibes runs wild, there's a rumor. 9 months later, John Doe Jr. But he got the vibes from his mother, who got it from a lover, who got it from another other brother who discovers the lesson too late. Don't share the needle, age risk is equal. No matter the case, age you don't want him. If you want to love a user, be the user of a condom.
Silence the violence, increase the peace, don't fake the funk, whatever. It's not about that. It's about Quincy, Rhonda, and Kano. These are my homies, and they're also dead. So don't wrap this up in some cute ad slogan with some big sound effects. This is about us. We're killing each other. My name is George Rampage Hoyt, also known as Dominic Fortune, the infamous game Untamed. You may remember me from Strive episodes. I've been a member now for about 7 years, since 91. I was introduced to Strive by a mutual friend, and a lot of my skills were encouraged by Michelle Bucray, who passed away November 11th, 1998 on Veterans Day. Michelle Bucray was a very special woman. She taught me most of everything that I know, and she was like a second mother to everybody at the Urban League Academy. For a matter of fact, she was the one who changed the name to the Urban League Academy. Her work, her efforts, her kindness knew no ends and no limitations, and she shared this with her students, and through her students, her knowledge that she passed on to us will be given to the entire world. Michelle Bucray was a champion, and she was a soldier. She was best known for her work at the Urban League Academy, where she helped the youth and young adults strive to fulfill their dreams. Those that were considered miseducated or branded as stupid, she took them, people like myself, and brought out the genius and the talents within us and showed the world that they were wrong. Michelle Bucray knew her young people better than they knew themselves, and she worked on that and brought out the best in them. And here's what she brought out in me. Teacher, teacher, tell me how you did it. School me to this game, and I publicly admit if it wasn't for your wisdom, I'd probably be in prison amongst millions of victims of this cold, heartless system. You always remained truthful to your pupils, labeled us geniuses when they said we had no scruples. You taught us that knowledge was the weapon they can't confiscate, and the best defense against senseless laws of hate. Strong black soldier in the struggle, Michelle Bucray. Kinda ironic you would pass away on Veterans Day. Your student troops will never be defeated. Of course we feel cheated, cause your leadership's needed. You'd say one life to live, kid, ain't no half-stepping. Tell me why you had to die for me to learn this lesson. Unanswered questions, game Untamed and Urban League. Yeah, we owe you the most, and we gon' keep your name alive on this coast, and that's a blood oath. Dominic Fortune, the infamous game Untamed. George Rampage Hoyt. Miss you badly, Miss Bucray. Rest in peace. Extra, extra, read all about it. Hot off the press and Tri-County routed. The Northwest Dispatch, 20 years old. On top the hill, represent black, green, and gold. Game packaged and sold. News printed and told. Ain't nowhere to run from. The Urban 411 from hilltop to Thurston to Kitsap emerging. Converging on those living suburban for certain. Behind the curtains, Virginia Taylor's been working. A black team observing. Community serving. A people who've been silenced by a muzzle. truth and it's tailor-made to fit black struggle. Believe that. This is Dominic Fortune, the infamous Game Untamed, representing Hip Hop Live, you know what I'm saying? Happy 20th anniversary to the Northwest Dispatch. Get the papers, get the papers. Peace.
Be kiddos, see cholos for the locals who don't know. To all my vatos, welcome to El Paso. Count your magazine, hits the scene full of raza. Better get your agua, the 411 is hotter. Nada compares to El Paso, where strictly for Aztec players. Paso features Latino art, so come on and be a part. Display your drawing skills on a monthly start. We low riders, players and outsiders. Here's the true fighters, can't get no tighter. Sipping tequila, untames on the loose. Knocking boots with senoritas, all my amigos and suavecito. Dominic Fortune, the infamous Game Untamed. Honk when you see El Paso boots. 4619 Pacific Avenue, or call 253-477-7729. And don't forget to pick up El Caucho magazine. You'll find it wherever a Chicano business is seen. Late.
One, two, what's up? This is Dominic Fortune, the infamous Game Untamed, representing hip-hop in the Northwest that you are now watching. You know what I'm saying? Gana dinero at mi concierto, bonita senoritas, aloha suavecito, amigo, we got your hot out running for agua, say nada, que pasa? This one's full of raza. Uno, dos, tres, feel the bass when the low riders jump, black and brown all around, catching in on this funk. Hip-hop in the Northwest, keep watching with my man Abe Cortez and Tina Combs, baby. Peace.
Hey, homie, let me see some ID.
All right, man, chill. Here you go.
Library. Oh, George.
Stop. In Washington State, you do not have to provide identification to a law enforcement officer who approaches you on the street. You don't have to give your driver's license or Washington ID card. You don't have to give out your address, date of birth, or even your name. Now, under certain circumstances, like if you're driving a car, it may be a crime not to provide identification. Consult with an attorney to find out whether or not your situation is one of the exceptions. But generally, you do not have to provide identification. And you want to think, before you reach for that wallet, about whether or not this is going to help or hurt the situation. If you ask the cop whether you're under arrest, and he says yes, he's going to get your ID anyway. It may be better to provide it voluntarily, keep the situation calm. But if you are free to leave, he's going to, if you provide your ID, do a warrants check. It's going to be delay, and delay in this situation is not your friend. As always, whenever you interact with law enforcement, you want to be polite and unhelpful. You want to be honest and silent. Do not do or say anything because the cop wants you to. Do or say things only if it benefits you.
Hey, homie, up against the wall. Turn around, turn around.
Man, damn.
Turn around.
Fuck, I ain't even do nothing, man.
Whatever.
I don't got nothing, dude.
What's this?
What's what?
Oh, shit. What the fuck is this?
Stop.
You do not have to consent to a search. If law enforcement asks you if they can search you, you ought to tell them, I do not consent to a search. If they ask you if they can come in your home and search, you should always request to see a search warrant and indicate to them that you are not consenting to a search. They may search anyway. If that happens to you, bear in mind that resisting a police officer can get you hurt and can lead to felony charges. Again, your default position needs to be, I do not consent to a search, I'd like to see a search warrant, and I'm not resisting anything. You need to preserve your rights. If you allow an officer to search you by saying something like, it's okay if you search, I have nothing to hide, go ahead and search, then the officer always has authority to search. And police are very good at finding things and making them look incriminating later on.
Hey, homeboy, let me help you. Where'd you get the weed from?
Hey man, ain't even my jacket, dude. I don't know where that came from. It's my homeboy's jacket, dude. We were just out the street, man. I lost my coat. You let me, yo, man, for real. For real, I don't know where it came from, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you could have to my...
Stop. Shut the fuck up. You do not have to answer questions, and you shouldn't. Especially after you've been read your Miranda rights. Because if you've been read your Miranda rights, that means you are under arrest. You are not talking your way out of anything. And everything you say is going to get twisted by the cops and used against you later. Your silence cannot be legally twisted to mean anything. There is no benefit for you talking, and it's only going to hurt you. So don't say anything. When a cop asks you questions, you say, I do not want to speak to you. I do not want to answer questions. I want to remain silent, and I want a lawyer. As always, whenever you interact with law enforcement, you want to be polite and unhelpful. You want to be honest, and you want to be silent. Don't say or do anything just because a cop asks you to. Say or do something because it benefits you.
Welcome back to the Black Robe Podcast. It's your girl, Anjanae Slaughter, here with my lovely co-host, Miss Carol Mitchell. So good to see you, Carol. How are you?
You too. Happy Holy Days.
Happy Holy Days? What is that?
That's what I say. Instead of holidays, I say happy holy days. You know, whatever holy days you celebrate, I hope they're happy and you're not killing nobody, your relatives, and carrying on.
I love that. Another saying from Auntie Carol.
Yeah, because you know, people have all sorts of faith traditions and beliefs, and we're going to talk a little bit tonight about some faith traditions and beliefs that might not be widely known about. So we're just going to say happy holy days, however you celebrate them.
Sounds good to me. Well, I'm really excited for today's podcast, and I hope all of you guys watching at home are super excited to hear what we have in store. It's been a while since we had a Crystal Stair story, so I don't know if that's why I'm so excited or if it's because of the topic, like you just mentioned, something slightly unfamiliar to a lot of people, right? And maybe a little controversial at the same time. So Carol, if you're down, let's just jump right in and bring on our guest. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Mr. George Hoyt, are you there? Hi, George. I think you might be on mute, so go ahead and unmute yourself if you can.
Hello? Hello?
Perfect. Awesome. We can hear you, George. Thank you so much.
Hey.
And welcome to the Black Row podcast. We have
Thank
viewers.
you.
Thank you. We have viewers listening right now. So let's get started and just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Me, I'm from, I was born here. My mother's from Trinidad. My mother's name is Anastasia Amore. My mom came to America in like 1972. She was student body president at TCC in 1978, known as the Duchess. She started the African clothing line when I was in high school called African Odyssey. She was a singer. She made two records, one called Weep Atlanta off of the lynchings that was going on at the time in the early 80s in Atlanta, and All I Need Is You, a country song that she does. She was also a sculptor, an author, a painter. And she had me. I was born here in Tacoma. I'm 47 years old now. Basically all my skills as far as talents and music derived from my talented creative mother. That's about the long and short of me.
Yeah, she was quite the, I would say she was an amazingly artistic talent, maybe not
Oh, yes.
as widely known as she deserved to be. Her work certainly was at the caliber of a much more well-known artist.
Yeah, she was way before her time, not only with her talents and her creativity, but the topic she basically chose with she was proud of her heritage, but she really loved God. I mean, I don't know anybody today that loved the Lord as much as my mother, but at the same time, she was proud of her heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And so she hung on to that, her riches, her spirituality. She was a master herbalist. She held on to her heritage and her culture and her faith. So and she got a lot of flack for that from some places. You know, some people didn't understand that. Some people didn't understand her. But I mean, I think she was a very strong woman. She was a very strong woman, and she was very much ahead of her time. And I believe, she may not had been appreciated in her time, but I mean, as time moves forward, I think more and more people is going to come around and see it for the artistic talent that she actually is and was.
What is an Obia woman? That's the name of her book, and it's full of her illustrations. So what would Anastasia tell us about the Obia woman?
Well, I mean, if I go by the story Mother Dora in her book, the Obia woman was basically the woman that she was like the second mother to everybody in the community, particularly in Trinidad, like the village situation it is. If you had a problem, you wouldn't go see the Obia woman. Whether it was something to be fixed herbally, fixed psychically, fixed spiritually, or just some good old advice, she was basically your second mother, that someone you could that would listen to you, ear for a shoulder for you to cry on. She was basically the mother of the community, and that's where my mother got the character Mother Dora in her book Obia Woman. As far as basically she's going around helping most of the people in the community. The story gets more complex than that, of course, but that's the gist of the Obia Woman. She was basically the woman that you'd come to whenever you had a problem that, couldn't be solved.
Yeah, there's an element of Toni Morrison's Beloved and Alice Walker and Mama Day, all of those characters from these other prolific African-American women writers. Obia Woman is right in there with Mama Day and Beloved, my opinion, having read all those books.
Yeah.
We're gonna buy, the IBJ is going to buy some copies of your mother's book. It is available on Amazon. And we're going to make those available throughout the holy days for people
Yes.
who, maybe for the first 25 people that send us a message on our Facebook page, we'll send you a copy of the book. How's that sound?
That would be great, especially during this Kwanzaa season. That's what's up. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you for continuing to tell your mother's story even after life, right? I mean, this is legacy. This is something that, right? I mean, this is why for me in my own personal life, right? I want to make impact on individuals so that someone maybe that loves me, maybe my children, or I don't have any kids now, but in the future, right, will share my story like you are. What's your hope, George, with continuing to share your mother's story?
Well, basically the thing that she hopes for, and it's the introduction of the Orishas, particularly to our people. And my mother kind of believed. She kind of believed that there was a definite miseducation when it came to who we are and who these Orishas are. And I mean, most of our people shunned away from this type. They'd see our paintings and be scared of it, you know, just off the basis of, okay, they're Black spiritual beings, and what is this? And this is kind of weird, and maybe this is some kind of thing to do with hell or whatever. It's been so demonized, and that characteristic that of our culture that's been missing from our people is something she believed needed to be restored. And I think later on in life, somewhere she will be known basically as somebody who actually did a good thing by restoring and making these Orishas known to the public.
Yeah, George, you were kind enough to allow me to come to your home and see the incredible work that your mother, at least part of it, that she accumulated over time. And I had the privilege of picking my two favorite pieces, which are now prominently displayed in my office upstairs. And I love them. I love them.
Great. Yes.
Let's talk
about,
well, I'm glad that you felt, led by spirit to share those and to gift those. But let's talk about the Orishas. What is an Orisha? And then let's talk about one of the Orishas that I brought home with me, Yemaya. Okay. So tell people a little bit about that, and why is it so much of a controversy for a person who is a Christian to also then still have the Orishas as prominent in their world?
Well, okay, I must let you know that my knowledge is nowhere on the level that my mother was, but I will do my best to try to live up to what she did in her work as far as what I learned from her. Now, the Orishas are like spiritual forces that were brought forth first by the first Orisha, Eligwa. And he's the opener of the crossroads where all the Orishas come through from between the spiritual realm and the physical world. Your Orisha, Yemaya, is the Orisha of the ocean and motherhood. A lot of people kind of shy away from the whole idea of the actual Orishas because, I mean, for quite frankly, all our time in America, it's been beaten out of us. It was basically vilified. It's vilified in all kinds of propaganda, society as backwards, voodoo, zombie, this and all this. And a lot of people are just quite frankly scared of something that's naturally them. And that's kind of necessary that the world kind of preys upon that kind of what would I call it? I don't want to say a weakness, but it's a condition right now that a lot of people kind of like to see our people in, because they're easily more able to take advantage of us if we don't know exactly who and what we are.
Well, I can recall in my studies of world religion that, practices, faiths, belief systems like Vodun and Santeria and the Orishas, for example, when the Catholic priests, missionaries went to some of these West African and South American nations, they attached patron saints, Saint Martin, for example, to an Orisha. And that's how they were able to transition the belief system in, more animism belief systems into Catholicism. That's how they were able to integrate it, because they
synchronized it. They synchronized it, and it also keeps the slaves safe at the same token while doing this, because if they prayed to Santa Barbara, and it looked like it's Santa Barbara, and they're actually praying to Shango, the slave master wouldn't know that they're actually worshiping Shango or worshiping Eligwa, worshiping Ogun and all this by basically hiding them in the saints or synchronizing them with the saints at the same time. So yeah, they were free to worship in that way, shape, or form. If you look at the picture called the 7 African Powers, which is one of the first things I looked up when the internet first came out, I was wondering, okay, well, what do African gods look like? And this 7 African Powers came up, and it was basically these 7 saints, white saints, European saints around Christ or whatever, as the 7 African Powers. But they're actually the Orishas, Ogun, Eligwa, Shango, and that's actually represented except by those particular European saints, which it was safe at the time to worship safely at that time.
Well, and African people are not a monolith. And there were belief systems that pre-existed the coming of missionaries. Before Christianity, before Islam, there was a set of beliefs and practices that sustained West African people. And there are remnants of those still practiced.
Some people feel threatened, though, especially with our history kinds of panic certain people when it comes to who we are and what we have achieved. There's a reason you could possibly go through a whole college career and never hear of the Moors of Spain. You feel me? There's a reason why, most of the times these things like the Orishas are never brought up either in school or even any type of churches or any type of where like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason to keep these things hidden from the status quo in the public at this time. You feel me? So I believe my mother was very groundbreaking in creating these things in her books and her portraits.
I would agree, George. And, if we look back at history, we know that this country assimilated people. We can look back at how they, the terrible thing that they did to the Native Americans, making them cut their hair and stop speaking their own native language, right? They did the same to us in slavery, right? I mean, we could not even, we couldn't even learn how to read and write, right? That was illegal in order to, so how are we going to, and of course, sharing any stories. And this is we even remembered them when we made it through the traumatic transatlantic, travel, the trip that we endured, right? I mean, if we didn't jump off coming over, I mean, there's so many reasons to defend or explain the reason why a lot of people, especially a lot of African American people, do not know about this, African spirituality, right? It was really what it is. But that doesn't mean that it's not real. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have value, it doesn't have power. It is our culture, right? Going back to history, if we think about the Haitian Revolution and why they were looked at as so powerful was because they used their spirit, and they broke the shackles. I mean, that's why they were so there's a lot of reasons to believe, or reasons why, some supremacist colonizer wouldn't want this valuable information to make it all the way, not only to the States, but to Seattle. Can you imagine? I mean, migration patterns, the black people that live in Seattle, okay, they're not getting the same richness and culture as the black people that are in Atlanta, the same black people that are, in New Orleans,
Carolinas.
Okay? The Carolinas, right? We're not getting that. So, George, again, thank you for bringing this to our platform today, to continue to share this story, because it is our culture. And if we think about religion, every religion is based in culture. It's based in someone's culture, right? We look at Hindu religion, right? We look at Buddhism. It's based in Chinese culture, right? We look at, Muslim, right? Islam, right? It's all based in culture. Why is it that black people don't have a religion? Or do we, and we just don't know about it?
We do and don't know about it.
Exactly.
But and it's good that you brought up the Haitian Revolution, because my mother would call that an example of true spiritual warfare using the Orishas or the Loas. And in the book, the Obia woman, she wrote, there's an actual ritual that kind of mimics the one Bookman supposedly did at the beginning of the ritual, sacrifice of a black pig to the god of war Ogun, that takes place, that she actually put in the ritual in the book before a battle Mother Endor does, going up against the demon Samuel the Black, somewhere in the book. So check that part out. You might find it interesting.
I plan to.
George, this is a rich, just the conversation we've had here tonight, that just is the tip of the iceberg of what people will find in your mother's book, Obia Woman. It's on Amazon. IBJ is going to buy 25 copies, and the first 25 people that send us a message on our Facebook page asking for a copy, you find a way to direct message us. I think you can. We'll figure it out so that we can get your address to send it to you. But we're going to order some copies of the book. We want to make sure also, George, that people know where they can find more information about your mom's work. We found some interesting interviews that you did with her before she passed away on YouTube.
Yes. They're on my YouTube channel, Serve Notice at YouTube.com. You can find me interviewing my mother, Anastasia Amore, the Obia woman. You could also find my mother's music, her song Weep Atlanta, and her song All I Need Is You, and the songs we've done together, me and my mother, Blood Oath, honoring Michelle Bucray, a fine black teacher from the Urban League down here, and other songs we've done together and other videos. That's on YouTube off the Serve Notice channel. So if you just go there, and she also has a Facebook page, The Obia Woman by Anastasia Amore. You could check out some of her articles when she was student body president, when she was printed in the Challenge newspaper at TCC as the Duchess, and all her work. She also has some work that's I'm going through, and we were going through before she passed. We were working on the Obia Woman too. We were coming up with a tremendous outline for it. Admittedly, now that she's passed, if it does come out, I'm going to have to possibly write most of it around her notes and her outlines. But there's other works that she has done that I might put out some of her stuff posthumously. But the future, only time will tell. We'll see. But thank you.
You're welcome. And where can people buy her art? How is that going to work?
Well, they'd have to get in contact with me somehow, just like, because the arts are original works that's here. But if they get in contact with me through Facebook somehow, or even just call this show or whatever, or find a way to contact me on Facebook, and if it sounds like something you're really interested, you know, we could work a deal with. And yeah, her art is for sale. So yeah, I'll still be putting those up. Thank you. She was a beautiful woman.
Yes, she was. So, Anjanae's going to close us out here because personally, I can't wait to dive into the book. First, I got to order it and then dive into the book. But you were kind enough to post some excerpts from the book on your post on Facebook, and I fell in love with those excerpts. So I can hardly wait to actually get the whole book. So thank you, Joy, for being with us tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much, and thank you for having us, and thank you for having my mom to honor her on this show. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much, George. And thank you, everyone that was watching at home. If anything in this conversation intrigued you or, got one of your eyebrows to raise, continue to stay engaged, right? Go on Amazon or inbox IBJ to get that free book for the holy days, as Miss Carol would say it. And then also, if you're just unsure, you don't know, do a little bit more research, right? And the facts are all in the pudding. Everything is out there. So thank you again, you guys, for listening. We will be back next week for another story here on the Black Girl Podcast. On that note, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
One, two, 1, 2. This is Dominic and Mary for We the Students Television Edutainment. We're here today. We got a special guest, one Miss Anastasia the Phoenix Amore, who's here to talk to her about the new book she wrote called The Obia Woman. Hello, Anastasia Amore. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your creative background and your new book, The Obia Woman.
Well, from a child, I've been very creative. I used to draw on any blank paper that I find, and I was always singing. I would be singing in choirs and stuff like that, from the time I was a child. And as I grew up, my family saw the things that I was doing on paper, and they started buying me paints so that I could paint pictures.
Right.
And I have done that all my life.
So, the Obia Woman has some beautiful artwork in the book. What is the story behind the pictures?
Well, they are paintings of the Orishas. I paint the pictures with automatic drawings. That means my hand just do the work more than I do. And, I find that beautiful paintings come out of doing that.
That's right. Through the spirit, huh?
Yes.
One of my favorite parts of the books is Chapter 3, The Fish Lady, Matilda story. I hear there's a funny source of inspiration for this story. Can you tell me more about it?
Yes, well, I have been listening to Matilda, sung by Harry Belafonte, all my life, and it just occurred to me one day, what if it was her money that she took back from him? And the story developed from there about her making the money as a fish woman and him taking it, and finally she getting the courage to take back her money, to take back her life, actually.
What was some of the culture like growing up in Trinidad, and how did this inspire the story of Mother Dora, the Obia Woman, in your book?
Well, my life was around Obia women, my grandmother and my aunt. And I learned a lot from them on how to do Obia. I learned about the plants and what they do. And one of my favorite plants is the St. John bush. It's a cleansing plant, and it turns blood red when you boil it. So that was one of my favorite that I learned from my aunt.
Okay. Well, back to the beautiful illustrations in the book. You say that most of the pictures are portraits of African gods or orishas. What inspired you to paint these portraits, and which one of them are your personal favorites, and why?
Well, Elegua is my favorite.
That's on the book's cover, right?
Yes. And Elegua opened the doors for all the other orishas to come through. And he was first and foremost. I love him. He works for me in many ways. And, he was my inspiration. I got it from an African mask that I saw. When I saw the mask, I thought, that is Elegua. And I painted it just as I saw it, but with all the markings on it that shows that it's Elegua.
Right. I know that in the days of chattel slavery, it was illegal for the black slaves to worship their deities freely, often under the threat of death. These slaves, they found clever ways to secretly worship or practice their original religion through synchronizing these deities with the white saints of Christianity and doing their worship and their rituals under radar. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, they found that if they pray to the white saints, their masters wouldn't beat them. They would think that they were Christians.
They're synchronizing it.
Yes. And Elegua was placed in St. Anthony. And Shango was Santa Barbara. And on and on.
Right.
Yes, and they did that because no one wants to be beaten.
Yeah.
But they still wanted to worship their ancestors.
Yeah. Beaten or killed, really.
Yes.
Why do you think so many of our people fear their own original religions and culture, whether that be Obia, Santeria, Voodoo, Hoodoo, etc.? Most of our people try our best to distance ourselves from these ancient beliefs many decades after chattel slavery that has to do with, pre-colonial Africa or wherever. Why is that? Why do we distance ourselves from these ancient cultures?
Well, they were taught that these religions were of the devil. They were taught that they were evil. And it's going to take some time to convince them that this is their religion. These are their gods. This is what we were before the white man. And I think in time they will come to see that these religions are not of the devil.
Okay, well, back to the book. The main protagonist is Dora Van Hart, Mother Dora. Who is the Obia woman? How close is Mother Dora's fictional story close to the reality of the spiritual Obia world?
Well, Mother Dora embodies what an Obia woman is. I have seen so many details of Obia women that are so wrong. They're nowhere near the truth. And Mother Dora is my way of showing what a real Obia woman is.
Okay, that's great. So what's next, and what can we expect from Anastasia Amora after the Obia Woman book? Is this a series? Are you going to continue to paint? What comes next after this book, The Obia Woman?
Obia Woman 2 book comes next. And yes, it is a series, and I will have paintings. I'm planning on doing more paintings for that book. Only time will tell as far as the paintings, because they do take a lot of time.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Miss Anastasia Amore. And if you want to pick up her book, The Obia Woman, you could get it at Amazon.com. The Obia Woman by Anastasia Amore. Thank you for your time. This has been Dominic Fortune for What's We the Student Television. Be good. Be blessed. Peace.
I don't need those diamond rings you brought last night, and I don't need the champagne or the pearls, the mink coat and the silverware that shines so bright, the swimming pool or ponies for our girls. But I'll take your arms, your lips, your eyes, your heart. I'll take
children cannot play. A mother's heart is bleeding. A child was slain today. Oh, hear you not her weeping? Can you not feel her pain? Her voice called to her young one. Her search is all in Oh, bring me all the children and forgive them not, you said. But Lord, they stole our children. They're gone, never to return again. So weep, oh weep, Atlanta, your mothers live in fear. Your children are not laughing. Your rivers, they are not clear.
Joe!